So we're getting into the second hour here, and I'm sitting here. I'm thinking, what would you guys like to know? What would you guys need to know? But first of all, I want to touch on a subject from last hour, and that is the Klingons from Star Trek. You know, the Klingons is an impossible race, at least to be in space. And there are a lot of actually impossible races that they meet out there. And I'm going to tell you why, because uh, the human race, when they go into space, as they do in Star Trek, they do it in a peaceful way. Like they're always the mediator, the arbiter, the confidant, the the one who resolves. They encounter some kind of conflict problem or something, and then they resolve it. They apply their divine human morality and heart and goodness, and then they solve this conflict. They release the alien that is in captivity, or they repair the world that is about to explode, or uh, they uh, they accidentally create a nanovirus in their computer, and they discover it's actually a life form, and they communicate with it and say, we come in peace, we don't want to eradicate you. How can we and then they set it off in some asteroid where it can prosper. you know uh, that's the spirit that we put forth uh, in Star Trek. And why did I say the Klingons were impossible? Because the Klingons, they just want to go to war, right? Attack. It's for the honor. Like, it's very honorable. Like, the Klingons, they're always trying to find ways to die honorably, right? Whenever a Worf sees an opportunity to die honorably in some battle, he charges forth. It's the greatest thing that could happen to him. And there's a lot of other races like that that they encounter, war-like races. And the Ferengi. Let's get back to the Ferengi. But just the Klingons, I would postulate that it is impossible for the Klingons to reach outer space. I would postulate it is impossible for Klingons just to make it off the planet, because all they want to do is kill. That's not true. Like, there's a lot of Klingons out there who say, "Oh, I'm not trying to shoot them down. I have a certain affinity for Klingons because they're learning as well in Star Trek. When they encounter humans, they learn human traits. They see how we do things, and then they incorporate some of it. And of course, the creators have to create something that's different than us, something to show where we come from, where our heart is. Like, if we just went out there and all we met were humans that acted like us, then it would be kind of weird, eh? And they do also meet races that are benign and just want to trade or share, do kind of the same mindset as we have. But the Klingons especially, I'm wondering how they ever made it into space, because how can you, if you're so competitive and backstabbing and always rivaling about who is in control. How can you ever build a starship? Like, how can you make it work? Uh, you have to give up war and begin working together to be able to make it off the surface of the planet. And that's what we're seeing right now um, with our own planet. We should be in space right now. Right now. Like, we should have been far, far further into space than we are. Well, we've been to the moon. We've been around the sun. We sent probes out to the outer planets. We're contemplating going to Mars. We should have settled Mars like 20 years ago. We could have, if if the banks didn't take over in 1913. If that hadn't happened, if Woodrow Wilson hadn't sold his soul to the devil on that day in 1913, we could have been looking at a totally different world. Like, the banks would probably still be fighting for control. But Washington staved them off. Andrew Jackson staved them off. Lincoln staved them off. It can be done, you know. But Woodrow Wilson, he gave in. They offered him a deal he couldn't refuse, and then he signed the Federal Reserve Act, and now we're fucked, and now we're nowhere. And now we have Richard Branson trying to sell tickets in his mini spaceship for rich people to go into space and feel weightless for a couple of minutes. Fucking bullshit. We should have capital starships at this point in time. We should be exploring at this point in time. Maybe we couldn't have warp drive or go beyond our own solar system at this present time, but we should at least be surfing around our own star system. Like, that's a minimum at this point in time. And people are thinking, oh, that's so far out into the future, and we don't have the money to do it. No, we don't have the money. We need the money. Yes, how are we gonna get the money to build all those spaceships? Fuck money. We don't need fucking money. What we need is cooperation. If we woke up tomorrow and everybody just agreed that money didn't matter, and we could share everything, we would have totally different goals. Like, if you woke up tomorrow and you could do whatever you wanted because there was nothing threatening you and every need that you had were being provided for, what would you do? You see, that's one of the questions of how do we go from where we are to where we want to be. And that's a big one, because I've been talking to a lot of people about this, and they're always skeptical and saying it can't be done. Like, one of my friends said, well, I want to be able to pay for a ticket so I can go to Japan to see my family. And how do we determine who gets to go to Japan then, if there's no money? And and if there is no money, then we would make transportation systems that would make airplanes look like the first Model T rolling out of the Ford factory. We would have rail systems that could take you from Europe to Japan in 1 hour. We would have things you couldn't even imagine yet. And it would be free. Where would you like to go today? I thought maybe visiting Australia. Alright, let's jump on the thing and go there. But now Now you have to apply for a visa. You have to get your passport. You have to get the one with the chip inside it so they can track you. And you have to take a picture, and you have to wait, and you have to pay to get the passport. And you have to get money to go there, and you have to pay carbon taxes. And you have to wait until the plane actually leaves. You have to book your tickets because there's a scarcity. There's not enough room, right? And you have to sit in a coach with 100 other dogs and cats squeezed in, trying to get some sleep, eating weird food, watching weird movies. All the while you burn a lot of gasoline. Yeah. So how do we get there? You know, I sometimes ask people, like, if all the needs you had were cared for, what would you do? Well, then say something like, well, how much money would I have? That's not what I said. I said, if all your needs were cared for, if you had food, delicious food. I'm not talking about ration food. Like, people think it's some kind of reverse communism thing we're gonna have going on where you have to queue up to get toilet paper. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about perfect abundance. I'm talking about supermarkets filled with purely ecological food where you just go in and you fill your basket with whatever you want that day and go out. Well, right now we have young people sitting at the cash register, wasting away their life, getting fat, moving our groceries in front of a little thing that has to go beep because the fucking Rockefellers and the Illuminati and the Rothschilds want their money, right? They shouldn't be sitting at a cash register. They should be exploring their sexuality. They should be going to the stars. They should be reading. They should be writing, creating. Shouldn't be sitting at a fucking cash register. Sorry, I get emotional about the monetary system. You know, that was like the basis for my entire website, 99thmonkey.net. I saw this woman at a cash register the other day, and she was huge, you know, and I've been very overweight myself. I lost most of it. I feel kind of normal now. You know, normal is a word. It's a whole other discussion. But you know, normal right now means that I look like most other humans. But this girl at the cash register, she was huge, and she was sitting there like she was in prison. Like, the chair was too small. She didn't fit in that space, you know. Her body, parts of her body were like lying on the table thing there, and you know, the fat or whatever. I'm on the. It's hard to, you know, to I'm not trying to lash out at overweight people because I've been there. I know what it's like to hate your own body, to wake up and look in the mirror and just see minus, 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 minus. All you people who are pretty and who enjoy how you look, you should really thank the maker every second of the day. Every time you look in the mirror and you see plus, 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 you don't know over the years, over the minutes, over the days, the weeks, how that accumulates. If you've seen plus, 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 plus since you were 13, and you at that age you really start thinking about how you look. If all you've seen is good stuff plus, you have accumulated a lot of pluses over the years, right? Imagine people who have the opposite, who accumulates minus, negative, negative, negative every time they look at themselves. That's a hard burden to drag around. I'm still dragging much of that around. So I'm looking at this woman, right? And at some point during a transaction like that, you have to make eye contact. It's polite. It's also very human. Like you are trading, right? So at least you can look the other person in the eyes. So I'm looking at this girl and I see pain there and insecurity, and she was lost, and it looked like she didn't want to be there. It looked like she really wanted to be somewhere else. She wanted to escape that situation because there was a long queue and everybody was just piling up their groceries, and she's thinking, I'm in a total nightmare prison here, and it was like early in the day, and she has to sit there for like 7 more hours, and she's like the elephant in the show, right? And again, whoever you are out there, maybe you're listening to this, there are a lot of people in the same situation. I'm not making fun of you. I am putting the cards on the table and showing your situation so that others might learn from it. And she was sitting there just feeling totally naked, like an obstacle, like a freak show. And every person that passed through that register had to form, their own opinion about her. And many were disgusted, they looked the other way, or this is Denmark, and I guess in America or other country, but especially America, it might be different because there's really such a huge overweight problem, where it's almost normal. But in Denmark, it's still kind of rare to be really, really huge. And I could see her soul, and it was crying. And she was so adorable. She had a pretty cute face, and there was a glint of hope in her eyes. and she was polite, and she was submissive, because that's kind of the role you tend to take in those kind of situations. When you're not when you're the one who has the bad hand of cards, then you don't boast it, right? You underplay it. You put your tail between your legs, and that was what she was doing. And I paid for my stuff, and then I left the store, and I just looked back once, and she was sitting there. And I thought, my God. And why was she there? She was there because of Rockefeller and Illuminati and Rothschild and J.P. Morgan and the Warburg family and all the fucking minions and Satan's devils on this planet right now, who are mitigating and perpetuating our monetary system, right? All the demons in the banking world, all the elite scum, tyrant, globalist, authoritarians out there who insist on this ancient, ludicrous system of paper fiat currency. She was there because of them. And she was also fat because of them. And you're gonna see that in all of these broadcasts here, I'm gonna tie everything back to the monetary system and the globalists, the elitist scum, because that's where it originates. Every single problem that we have or we face on this planet is tied back to them. Except for like freak nature catastrophes. Like, we have a huge impact on planet Earth, but it's not as big as we like to think, you know. There are some things that are out of our hands. Yeah, I know they have the HARP system that can create superstorms and earthquakes and stuff, and I'm not discounting that. I think they're definitely doing that to just create mayhem and despair, so that people will throw themselves at the UN and beg them to usher in a new world order, you know. So let's look at this thing you call money, and actually just look at it, because you have it in your pocket right now. So take out the $1 bill and stare right at the goddamn pyramid Illuminati symbol right in the middle of it. All right, and it's hidden in plain view right there. And people think, oh, it can't be the Illuminati. It's only believed to be a theory and a conspiracy enough. It's right there. You have the eye at the top, and it says, Annuit Septis Novo Order Seclum. And that means approval of the undertaking of a new order of the ages. That's loosely translated. So that's the approval of the undertaking of a new order of the ages. Okay? In other words, whenever you pay somebody with a $1 bill, you say, here, I approve of the undertaking of a new world order. Here, I approve of the undertaking of a new world order. Every time you give somebody a bill, fucking piece of paper with ink on it, That's what you're signing. That's what you're confirming, right? That's what you say you believe in. So no wonder that people can't let go of it. No wonder that people are tied to it, connected to it, have trouble letting go of it, because they're manifesting it themselves. Uh, they're signing their own death warrant. They're approving it by doing it. That's why it's on the dollar bill, because it tricks the minds into believing that it's okay, that you've been doing it for so long, that it's somehow how it's supposed to be. We are all slaves, okay, of the elite, of the top of the pyramid. And money is the way they keep us in chains. And you have to realize this. And when you actually realize this, that is the most important step. Because it forces you into action. You're going to tell people about it. You're going to wonder about it. You're going to form an opinion about it. Every time you handle money, you're going to think about it. There's no way around it anymore. When you realize it, when you actually face it, there's no way around it. And you will fight it, because you know I'm speaking the truth. And you can just look all this up. I'm not like one person on the planet saying this and everybody else disagrees with me. This is like totally common knowledge by now. And it's no longer a conspiracy theory. It's conspiracy fact. And the word conspiracy has gotten this really weird ring to it. Like you're like ridiculed if you say the word conspiracy. It's followed by a laugh, and of course humans only laugh when they're trying to deflect something from their mind. When they don't want to deal with something, they laugh it off. So if those of you who believe as I do, if you're met with ridicule, that only means that people are deflecting it. So don't take it too hardly. And I'm not. I can't even tell you how to begin to convince people, because I've had so much problems with that myself. Challenge with that myself. And I think somewhere we don't actually have to convince anybody. It's the people themselves that have to convince themselves. It doesn't matter how many lectures you get from your parents or your mentors or whatever. You're always gonna go out and make the same mistakes until you learn it yourself. Like, some things you can take with you on your journey, like ice is cold and fire is hot, and you make some choices based on that. But even though somebody says that is a bad idea, you're gonna go out and try it yourself, and you're gonna repeat the mistakes. Like, you're not supposed to eat that much, but you still do it, right? You're not supposed to smoke, and you still do it. You're supposed to love your friends and family, and that special someone, and instead you we all make our own mistakes, and that's the only time we truly learn from it. Now, I'm postulating that true enlightenment is a state where you can actually learn from other others' mistakes. Like, you can see somebody else make a mistake, and then you learn from that. And that is a state. If you reach that state, then you have a big advantage. Like, then you're enlightened, in my opinion. If you can learn from other people's mistakes, that is such a huge leap for a human being. Well, how do we go from where we are right now to where we should be? And and people, when I ask them, what would you do if all your needs were taken care of? You can have your perfect strawberry daiquiri and your filet mignon and your delicious red wine and your trip to Japan, and you could sit in your garden and have ice cold lemonade with your friends and family without a care in the world. What would you do? See, that's the thing that humans cannot deal with. We are so accustomed to deal with shit, to have a plate of nastiness that we have to eat every day, that utopia like that, what I've just described, is outside of our realm of imagination, you know. We just can't see it. It's like, it's unreal to us. What would you do? Well, I guess I would, where would I work? Somebody said, you're not supposed to work. Technology is supposed to do 95% of the work for us. And no, they're not gonna build more fucking Fords and Suzukis, right? They're not gonna build any more cars that run on gasoline. We're gonna stop all the fucked up production that we got going right now, and we're gonna do it the right way. We're gonna do it the way that doesn't pollute, because there's no profit to be made, and everything we make is gonna be made to last, which means that we don't have to pump it out at that ludicrous speed as we do right now, because we're gonna repair everything. At some point, we're gonna be saturated, you know. How many buildings do we need? Like, once they're constructed, that's it. How many books do we need? How many microwave ovens? How many cell phones? Like, once we reach a certain number, we don't have to make any more, right? How do we get there? So what will you do? What would you do? You're sitting in the garden, and it's like it has like soft grass, and your 5-year-old and your 6-year-old, they're like playing further down in the garden, and your newborn baby, she's sitting in the grass, just playing with the straws, with the fine little green straws of grass. And your best girl, the love of your life, is sitting in a big straw hat, sipping ice cold lemonade. And what would you do? See, that's the question. What then? Because people have this tendency to think that once you reach that level, then everything stops. Then life implodes because it's an impossibility. You have somehow reached the maximum potential of human, and then the game stops because things are not supposed to be that perfect, right? Wrong. And some people say, well, what am I supposed to do all day? Well, what would you like to do? Well, I always wanted to be a spaceship captain. Well, go do that. Well, yeah, but I'm not trained as an astronaut. Who the fuck cares? Oh, but how do I get a job at the space agency thing? You don't get a job. There are no jobs. You do not have to work. You simply go there because you're interested. And the guy, you go to the space agency, right? And the doors are open. There's no security because nobody is trying to kill anybody because everybody have everything they need, right? There's no, you don't have to pay entrance. The trip there is free, right? So you can just go as you are. There are plenty of room there to stay for people who want to come and stay. You can bring your family if you want. You can bring your toddlers because at the space agency they have plenty of facilities for everything. Like everything has to be decentralized. The most dangerous thing we can do in life is to centralize power and centralize abilities, centralize functions in life. Like we have to put all the babies in one place every morning. You have to get in your car and use gasoline to put your baby in a place where all the other babies are. And they can't be anywhere else, and you cannot bring them to work, to your job. And if you have a really great job, then there's a place there where you could stick your baby all day long. Oh my god. I'm ranting. It feels good to be ranting. I always wondered, well, what it would feel like when Alex Jones is ranting. It feels really fucking cool. So you go to the space agency, right? And you go through the doors, and there's not really a reception, but there's a person walking through at that moment in time with some kind of digital tablet, and she looks up and looks at you and your family or whoever you want to bring, and she says hi, and I guess you introduce yourself or whatever, and she says, well, if in the west wing over there we have some lovely rooms where you can stay at one of those, and then at 2 o'clock we have a briefing, and you can join that. And until then, over there is the food, and then there's the recreation, and so on and so on. And then you go up and you settle in and you have a nap, or maybe you take care of your baby, and maybe the kids want to go out and play somewhere. And you don't have to be worried that your kids are gonna be fucking kidnapped by some drug addict, drunk driver. You just release your children into the world, and they go play badminton, or they go play hide and seek, or they go play with the remote controls miniature spaceship that's flying around. Whatever, right? And then there's the briefing, and your wife says, "Well, I'm not really into to space ship design. I wanted to be maybe at an art class." And then you turn on like the humongous flat wall screen that's not really a screen, it's just painted on the wall, that acts where the cells act like a TV. And you hook her up to another conference somewhere else where they're doing artwork, and she starts doing that. And then you go to the conference, and you sit down in a comfortable chair, and there's not really anybody at the seat at the end of the table. you know. But you can see there's some people who have more experience there, and there are projects already going on, and everybody's very excited to have a new face, and they ask a little about your past and your interest and what you think would be why you were there. I don't know, human interaction, but the main thing is nobody is gonna ask you for your papers or your school grades or your previous job experience. Have you had 5 years in sales already? No fucking way, bitch. Nothing like that. So here's what's gonna happen. They're gonna start. And one guy's gonna say, well, yesterday we were working on this material, and Joan, she came up with this thing, and then Hendrix, he said that and that, and we could turn it right out like this, and we think, and they're gonna start pulling up some kind of 3D digital thing in the middle of the table, and we thought of putting it like here, with the engines over here, because then there's gonna be space between this point and this point to put that and that module in there. And you sit and you just absorb, maybe for days, weeks. Doesn't matter. You don't have to say anything. Nobody's paying you. They don't have to pay dental insurance for you. They don't have to make a profit out of you. You're not part of their fucking corrupt organization that have to create profitability for the stockholders and for the new world order. They're just there because they love spaceships, right? And suddenly, you open your mouth, and the most brilliant thing comes out. You're looking at this spaceship that the other people have created, and you say, hey guys, I was thinking, I've watched a lot of Star Trek and other space movies, and you always get hit by micrometeorites, space debris. So I think we should start developing a shield for the spaceship. And then everybody is like looking at you, and you see they just have open eyes. They're just ready to take in whatever golden pearls are gonna come out of your mouth. And you say, so how do we do that? And one of them says, that's a good idea. We thought about that, but we didn't have the technology, so we didn't really know how to make it work. And then you say, well, it doesn't really matter that we don't have the technology. We just have to design it, right? We have to deflect the micrometeorites. We have to deflect all kinds of other stuff. If you're going into space, it's kind of nice to have a shield. Well, how do we make shield technology? Well, let's make it. And the thing, but we don't really have. There's a couple of theories. I saw that thing. I had this paper, and there was this guy once. He published this. And my uncle, he had this idea once with protons and neutrons, and we could probably do something like this. And then the idea boils, There's no deadline. There's no boss saying, you have to make this work by 5 o'clock on Friday or you're all fired. No, it's just fucking freedom. Alright? And this idea boils. and spreads. And you don't resolve it on that day. You have to go do something else. There's a feast somewhere. You have to go pick oranges from the trees, or you have to go bathe in a waterfall that's nearby. And then you get home. I say home. You get to the room where your wife is at the art class, right? And this crazy thing happens. She's talking to the other art students, and they're talking about absorbing pain and releasing joy. They're talking about how to put feelings onto canvas, right? And you think absorption. Why are we trying to deflect these meteorites? Why don't we just absorb them? Like it's basically energy, right? It's kinetic energy in form of a rock or a piece of whatever it could be. And then the whole project becomes about how to absorb instead of deflect. And everything that goes on just becomes one long journey of exploration and cooperation and creativity. And there is no money, and there are no contracts. And there are no deadlines. There's no bullshit repetitive work. And there are no complaints to be filed, and there are no passwords to be reset. And there are no international standards to be signed. My God, I remember at my last workplace, we had to conform. We were like a call center, right? We had to conform to like an international standard. And the thing was like, it had like over 600 points with subsections about what we had to do in every single instance in every single contingency. And we spent more time trying to fill this out, trying to quantify and log and rewrite, but there was no way that we could actually meet all these targets, right? So we muddled our way through and cut as many corners as possible. And that's what everybody do everywhere. Cutting corners. Making profit. So you have to right now, you have to imagine this world where there is no profit. What would you do if you did not have to create profit in a form of money? Like, profit can take many forms, and you will get, if you give, you will receive back tenfold. That's karma. That's a universal rule. Call it what you will. But if you start giving, you will get back. But this rule has been really tested and tried in our society, because everybody's out with a clause, right? They want, and you feel like you give everything you can to the government and through taxes, and you just give and give and never receive anything back. Well, that's because that the evil people figured out that there is so much surplus that we can survive on the last 1% of everything there is, and they can take the rest because there is such an abundance. There is such an abundance that we can survive on the scrapes and scraps and leftovers from the rich people's tables and still call it a beautiful life. Imagine if they didn't take any of it, if they weren't there, and we could share everything. How mind-bogglingly, I'm gonna use that word because how I don't even know where to go for words anymore. Like, how brilliant, how magnificent, how incredibly luminescent would our lives be if all that abundance got released to everyone instead of only the few. So yes, it's possible. And well, the question is still has been for the entire hour, how do we get there? And you know, there's some people who say, like, if you could, I describe this to them, and then I ask them, what would you do? And they say, I would party. I can't blame them. I would party too. Like, just have like an eternal party with everything you could ever want or imagine at this party. Because there's enough of everything. It doesn't have to end. You don't have to go home. You don't have to be anywhere. If you're tired, there's a room with a bed where you can sleep. Wake up and party some more. Party, party, party. Then what? You know? Then what? That's what the elite is doing right now. They're partying so hard that they're dying from it. I don't know if you've watched the Zeitgeist movies, but I strongly suggest that you do, because Zeitgeist, it means, well, it's German, it means time, spirit. Zeit is time, Geist is like spirit or feeling, soul, ghost. Watch that movie, Zeitgeist, and there's 3 movies. It's Peter Joseph, brilliant guy. Peter Joseph. Awesome guy. Everything he says in that movie is true. There's like some people on the planet that when they open their mouth, all that comes out of their mouth is truth. And Alex Jones is one, Peter Joseph is one, Jacques Fresco is one. I'm gonna try and name as many of those as I can going forward. Party, party, party. The rich are partying like, well, I was about to say like there's no tomorrow, but that's not actually true. They really want a tomorrow. They want their own tomorrow. They want to live forever. They want to merge with their machines. They want to have eternal life. They want to have perfect genes. They've, depending on how many alien races there are on the planet right now, some say there are 13. It could be anywhere. It could be double that. It could be half that. But I certainly don't think that we're alone right now, because the universe is 13.7 billion years old. 13.7 billion years. And the human race is what? We can have a long argument about when the first humans stood on 2 legs, but let's not do that. Let's just say that we haven't really been aware as a planet of our of our whole total humankind existence for more than what, 5, 10,000 years, maybe even less than that. We haven't been doing anything technological worthwhile except within the last 500 years. Like it started in the Middle Ages somewhere. Well, we've had some kind of technology from there was the fire and the wheel and the spoon and the and and the sword and whatever, but you know it was very, very slow, and things have really taken off since the internet, right? And since computer technology and robots, and that's within the last 50 years, right? So imagine a culture out there that started just like us, but has been in existence for 1,000,000 more years. What do? They have certainly reached some kind of level we could never imagine. Or maybe they've reached that level I've just described. Maybe they have descended even further, ascended even further to something non-corporeal, who knows? But there is certainly the possibility that they are here and that they have detected this beautiful little blue planet and want to control it, want to save us, want to interact with us. Maybe they're asserting the prime directive on us. Aliens is like a whole different discussion, a pretty long one, but you know, also a pretty important one. But the point is, we are very young, guys. We are a very, very young race. And we have no idea. Very hard to imagine, like how far all the other civilizations that are in this universe have advanced. And right now they're saying, well, you can't travel between the stars like that. It's proven, Einstein proved that you cannot travel faster than light, and you cannot even approach the speed of light, because then time slows down and yada yada, everything becomes heavier. Alright, well, let's go to the stars, not using speed. Okay? So people think, oh, there are a certain number of kilometers to the nearest star, so I have to create a machine that can travel kilometers, that have a velocity that travels at a speed. Why not just travel standing still? Create a wormhole, do something, fold space, rip it out of your ass. I don't have all the answers, but anything is possible, guys. Anything. All you have to do is imagine it and then build it. I don't ever let anybody tell you that something cannot be built, because if you can imagine it, it can be built. It's a lot harder to imagine something than it is to actually do it. So it's so weird that we imagine so many things but never do them. It's not supposed to be hard to do stuff. That's again goddamn elite, making us think that we cannot do shit, that we're not worth anything. Alright guys, it's been my pleasure to talk to you for this hour. I'm certainly going to be back. I'm getting kind of a taste for this renting or opening floodgates here. Good luck, guys. Good luck to all of us. This is Mike signing out.